Hey, what's up, everybody? You know what? I forgot to tweet. There we go. What's up, everybody? It's your humble host, William Kill from Coinigy.com, back again with another Bitcoin and altcoin trading talk. As per usual, we have Rob Borden from Coinigy as well. What's going on tonight?
Not too much. Excited for tonight's show.
Right on, right on. And Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor. How you doing?
Good evening, everyone. I'm great. What do we say? Much better now that I hear from you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I see somebody tweeted this out in like Spanish. Y empezado un primo en directo.
We're in simulcast.
Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. What's up with that?
Is that what happens? You guys automatically tweet out in different languages and stuff?
We're
apparently
syndicated.
Apparently, I must have clicked the wrong button one time, and now we're auto-tweeting in Spanish.
Cool.
I had it once before where it did it in Spanish, but another time it also did it in Russian. It was the Sterk ranges thing.
Buenas noches, everyone.
Oh man. Anyways, Alex Sterk from Blog Talk. How's it going?
Oh, fantastic! I'm awake this time and getting sauced.
Cracks a beer just as he's being introduced to the camera.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out.
Right on cue.
We did have I don't remember who exactly it was on Twitter, but they said, "Hey, can we do a drinking show?" So
You guys are lost,
I figured I'd oblige. So if you guys notice, got a different backdrop here and hanging out at my buddy Matt's house tonight. So
the support ticket ban is going to have to go well into tomorrow morning if we start having a drinking show.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, if you wonder what Rob's talking about, check out Block Talk from actually Alex had us on, kind of the Coinigy team. And
Yeah. Had a fantastic interview with you guys last Tuesday. Met the entire team. There's Derek and who's the other gentleman, the new guy?
Byron Allen, but he goes
Alan
Byron, but he goes by Byron.
Yep.
So that's why you can't remember. Because it's one or the other.
Those are your new team members?
Well, Derek's been around for a long time, but Byron's a new team member, yep.
Cool. So you're putting that raised capital hard to work?
Right off the bat.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's as you know, this has kind of been robbing my baby, for so many years. So
totally.
Getting a new team member on, it's kind of eye-opening and interesting for us. And
did you have any feedback from? I remember the last show we were like, "Hey, anybody watching is interested? Get in touch with the boys because they're hard."
Yeah, we did actually. Yeah. So we've just gotten a ton of resumes.
Good.
I don't know if it's.
You mean somebody actually watched
to the show, but I think I'd like to say it was attributed to Brian, but we posted it on We Work Remotely, so they get syndicated all over the place, and we didn't really realize that, so we've just gotten hammered with resumes, and we got a couple actually good candidates. We're into second round interviews and stuff, so
good for you. So, I mean, you guys had like just a mountain of jobs that just we're never getting to. Are you finally starting to get to some of those?
You mean like the chart scanners? Yeah,
I wasn't going to say anything.
We're like part of the reason that we brought Byron on is he's just a C# wizard, so we're kind of refactoring basically our entire backend into C#. So that's going to make the chart scanner happen. So we're just still kind of, working through the initial yada, yada, yada of kind of converting a lot of services and stuff. But
getting Byron up to speed, it takes a long time to
no doubt
learn a code base and understand how everything's set up and working and stuff like that. So
yeah, totally. Okay, congratulations
Rob and I wrote
it. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are on the grow, as they say.
You haven't, divvied up some funds for a secretary yet or anything like that?
I don't know.
We'd give ourselves raises probably before we hired ourselves.
Yeah, right.
No, you need a janitor for the facilities because you work from home right now, Will. So you're like, I need a janitor. Yeah.
It's executive assistant, Alex. Come on.
Oh, my mistake.
Can you write in cursive, Alex?
Very terribly.
How's your coffee?
And props go out to Alex. What was all this I was reading on Twitter about you now being a certified Bitcoin expert or something like that now, right?
You mean the certificate that I just happen to keep,
in your back pocket?
Wait, did you do the CBP?
Yeah, the CBP. So this is like a test from before to be it's like 75 multiple choice questions on like Bitcoin and blockchains.
Nice. Now we have a coach, William, so we can get our certifications.
It's really not that hard. I didn't really study for it. It's kind of open book. Like, I mean, you have 20 minutes to do it, so you gotta be quick on the questions. You can kind of Google, but for the most part, you can breeze through it. A lot of the questions are very similar. Some I feel don't have like a right answer. Like, I still don't know. They don't tell you what you got right and what you got wrong. But what was the one? It was the developers have control over the code that the Bitcoin network runs. So like part of that, I was like, well, they kind of do. They control the GitHub. And then on the other side of it, I was like, well, I mean,
it was a true-false.
Yeah, it was true-false. So I'm like, it could be either. This is a tough one.
Yeah, that's a vague one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's.
And my Twitter question: were the cows impressed?
They didn't really give a shit.
Damn, I thought they would be impressed.
Yeah, they
were impressed when he fed them.
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding.
They only look forward to me showing up and feeding them every day. So that's really all they're impressed with when I make my ration properly. It's like it's not too salty or anything like that.
How's the? I don't even know if you're allowed to talk about it, but how's the project in the sort of farming industry going? You've been thinking about. Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. We can kind of. I'm working on a white paper right now for, I guess. Well, there's a couple projects out there that do it. I've already seen a couple articles that highlight 3 of them, which track provenance, which is basically how food items move through the ecosystem. So like your milk, or you buy a box of Triscuits. See the thing I'm seeing over here. You know what truck it came onto the grocery store, where what manufacturing facility made it, what farm produced the wheat. This is all provenance, which is the traceability of the items. So right now, like, I see these guys are just doing something that provides marketing benefits. Well, that's kind of, if that's the only thing you have to offer to this chain, you're no different than the organic aisle at the grocery store. It doesn't mean anything, like you're providing data, but there's no one who's saying yes, it's done to our standards, or like, unless you get like one of these government agencies on, which that's where my idea kind of comes in. And I don't want to like give away the golden goose here, but it's kind of it's adding in a couple different aspects of like dApps that we've seen. So one of them is prediction markets. So prediction markets are kind of like act. So I think if you tie that in, where now when you have like you're buying and you're selling, now you have incentive. Okay, so like the settlement of a futures contract is when the food gets delivered, and then
right.
Wow, I'm having a hard time, I guess, putting this into proper wording, but.
I didn't mean
this is why I'm writing it down, so I can actually think through it.
Yeah. Well, I
feel like I'm
white paper. It'll be a good read. It'll be a good.
But I'm hoping to get it polished off for the conference that I'm going to at the end of the month, because that's when I want to be able to present it to. Because I had to fill an hour, and I'm not going to be able to talk a full hour on what they gave me. So they said I can talk about Block Talk and talk about any projects. So this idea, I think, has a lot of merit to it. It's just a matter of how does it function, and that's really what I'm kind of struggling with right now. I'm actually talking with a lot of farmers more about it rather than programmers, because I can make something work in PHP and then make it work in Ethereum or any of these other smart contract networks. Well, then it goes to a whole nother level. But if you can't make it work in PHP, then it's not going to work in decentralized format. So that's why I'm trying to work with farmers on, like, okay, what do you guys think you need? How are you going to be incentivized to report? So it's coming along, and there's a couple of good examples that I'll have for it, but I don't want to give away everything here. I'd rather have you guys on Block Talk, I guess.
All right, play it coy. I understand.
Well, I know people don't tune into this show to hear me pitch my stuff, right? They want to hear about what I think about other coins. Isn't that the whole deal?
Well, I don't know. You just reminded me I need to open chat.
Just wanted to try and get to know you a little better. Sorry, Alex.
Well, we only have an hour.
All right.
Get
I won't
through so
take
many
up with any
layers.
softball questions in the future.
We'll talk about it more on a future show. I'm sure we'll get some interesting comments on this. But yeah, I have a
I'm really excited for you. I think the sky's the limit for a guy like you. So take the ball as far as you can run with it.
All right, so let's kick off this show.
Yeah, let me make another drink.
One of those wheel things this week?
Oh, I did it. I only watched part of the show last week, but you guys made out okay without me. I'm sorry that I fell asleep, everyone at home. I know that you're all very disappointed in me.
I think what was it? There was a couple questions that I wanted to specifically ask you, and I can't remember what they are now. I should have written them down. That's too bad. Anyway.
So are we going to look at Bitcoin to start, or are we going to look at
right
into altcoins?
Is there anything particularly? I mean, the problem that I have with Bitcoin right now is I just don't see any fundamental catalysts or drivers. I kind of think Bitcoin price is just drifting here right now because there just isn't any drivers. So do you guys know of anything that can push Bitcoin's price here fundamentally?
I have nothing that I've heard specifically. I mean, it just kind of shot up a little bit, and
I mean, we could just be recovering a little bit from the Finex drop, and things are, Finex is operating again, for better or worse. They made that repayment on their tokens, which I don't know what that means exactly, but
we had there was actually an interesting, and we could probably look at the Finex tokens. I think there was like a little bullish ABCD that was working there, and one of my site members was like, "Ooh, sure, I'm glad I waited for that. Thanks, Brian." So I get the impression that the Finex sort of debacle is resolving itself. Is that the impression you guys get?
I mean, news cycle wise, it certainly is. They're back operating. I think it's starting to get in the back of people's minds now, finally. But
yeah, Finex is starting to kind of go up as far as our most popular, exchanges again. So it dropped way off for a while, but
yeah, you guys would probably you'd be able to track that kind of data. You could actually see where people are focusing their attention.
Yeah, we do have the data. We just kind of really are sitting on our thumbs with it. I mean, every once in a while we'll run a database query, but we don't really have any way to visualize it at this point. So.
That'd be cool to have, like, in music, what do they call those? In the 1970s guy who had like the huge stereo, he always had like the equalizer, I think they were called, and they'd have the little lights that would go up and down. Mm-hmm. That would be cool to have all the exchanges for Bitcoin, and you just watch the activity as it sort of oscillates from exchange.
Oh man, you're talking about something I've wanted to do for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, just have like a live kind of view of all the exchanges.
Have you ever seen like quantum mechanics, like videos of like how the universe works down on the quantum level? And it all looks like
the double slit experiment, of course.
It looks like totally random. It just looks like just bloops all over the place. That would be cool to have like a 3D matrix of the entire crypto universe as like a heat map, and as trades are firing off, the universe itself would sort of like morph. That would be really cool.
Oh man.
Hey Brian, I think I might have an event for you that might be triggering some of the Bitcoin buy up.
Okay, well there you go. So yeah, I always like good fundamental drivers. So what do you got?
Well, I don't know how much you value Zero Hedge, but he published an article saying Bitcoin surges almost 10% on heavy chatter in China buying amid G20 summit. So like right now you have all the world leaders meeting in China right now. I think a lot of what they're talking about is like carbon tax and a lot of environmental type stuff, because like Obama just approved, I guess, all the stuff that they agreed with in Paris. So I wouldn't be surprised if something that comes out of this whole G20 summit is maybe higher taxes or something along those lines to kind of fund a lot of environmental stuff. So people in China hearing that, they're like, oh man, I'm going to be buying all my Bitcoin. No one's going to take my Bitcoin from me. But
it would be cool to see sort of like relative buying pressure. You know, has the pace of buying in the Chinese exchanges accelerated? Is the buying coming from North America? Is it coming from Europe? That's the kind of thing. And actually, that's exactly what we were just talking a moment ago.
It's so hard to gauge real volume on those exchanges.
That's right. And how much of that Chinese volume is bullshit too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to essentially kind of be able to monitor their incoming and outgoing addresses in order to figure out where it's coming from. So
you can still look at their price premium though. That's a pretty good indicator to see how much
that is true.
You get a good idea of flow. Like a lot of buying, I think, is happening in China. Like people get upset here, like to think that all the mining is happening in China. That's where all the buying is. Like people are probably subsidizing Bitcoin mines. They're buying directly from the miners because that's the easiest way for them to get 25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. Like if I wanted to buy a shitload of Bitcoin, I'd be running a mine. Like I don't care how much it costs me. That's the best way for me to get Bitcoin and then get my money out of the country.
Yeah, I just saw a video too of I think it was Iceland. Was it Greenland or Iceland? I always get those two mixed up. But you know, sorry to any Icelanders, but it's all
or Greenlanders.
Or Greenland.
They're all frozen wasteland.
No, it's all
Greenland
power. So it was these guys. Really, they said, you know, it gets up to over like 160 Fahrenheit in the server room, and then they just have huge fans blowing in from the outside. It's real crazy, you know. I mean, and these aren't native Icelanders, so I assume a lot of the Chinese kind of operations aren't necessarily native Chinese either. It's just cheap operating costs.
That's something that I found really shocking. Is I've literally heard of at least a half a dozen people in sort of our little community here moving to China. I never heard of that before, and all of a sudden, all these people coming out of nowhere. I'm going to China. I'm heading to China. So you know, you might actually be absolutely right, Will. You know, is there any way to actually prove that the entity that's operating out of China is actually Chinese? Maybe they're, you know, Canadians. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that, I mean, this, and I can say kind of firsthand, the whole crypto industry attracts a lot of kind of nomad types, you know, so people that like to move around, work remotely, that kind of thing. So, at least me personally, I know a couple guys that have actually like lived in Thailand for a few years and stuff and just worked remotely. So, I mean, that might be part of it too.
Yeah, that's it. So, and what's this school me again on SegWit or SegWit or
segregated witness. So this is what's needed for the Lightning protocol. So it basically allows for off-chain transactions. So Brian, right now when you want to send money to Bittrex, you have to wait 10 minutes or 20 minutes to get 2 confirmations. Well, if you're, say, sending it from Polo and to Bittrex, if they're both running Lightning Network nodes, they can do that transaction offline, and they're able to credit you basically instantaneously. So it allows a lot less, you know, weight on the chain, and a lot faster. So it basically allows like microtransactions and a bunch of other stuff too. Like I think side chains are kind of part of that too. But this is like a new soft fork for Bitcoin that's kind of, I think it's planned for November right now. So you're gonna, I think that's around when it is, but these things keep getting delayed. Like we've been talking about SegWit all year. It's been an ongoing thing. Like Bitcoin just moves so slowly, it's almost comical.
Yeah, but it's a generally positive, something to look forward to kind of event. So when I hear that, and really if it's delayed another month or two, and you know, after some point people are going to be like, come on, when the hell is this damn thing going to happen, right? But I don't even hear any of that. we're still in that. What is this SegWit, and what's it supposed to do, kind of thing. So if we're in that kind of environment, then I could consider that like a bullish driver underlying the market right now. I'm not really hearing too many bearish conversations. Really, I don't hear. The Civil War seems to have been put to rest, which is good.
Did you hear or read the article the other day from the Bank of Canada, Brian, which said that Bitcoin adoption would lead to price stability? Like basically, the more people who use Bitcoin would eventually stabilize the price, which is basically saying if Bitcoin went to 50K, like the price would be far more stable than it is now. Like they didn't really outright say it, but it's pretty amazing to have the Bank of Canada, rather than publishing like a bearish article, to actually say, what if Bitcoin does get this huge surge in users and it may be a surge in price to follow with that? Well, one of the benefits of that is you're not going to be getting these 10% fluctuations in a day. Like it's going to be highly.
Yeah. That sounds to me to be like really very institutional type thinking. I don't think they're going to come out and put their neck in the noose, on some sort of short-term prediction. I think on balance that makes sense what they're saying, eh? But
yeah, it's just crazy that.
But I think what you just said there, more importantly, is just the tone of what it is that they're saying. Is it a positive tone? Is it a a pessimistic or a cautionary tone? That, like, from what I'm hearing from you, that's a relatively positive tone article that they put out. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say so. And like the Bank of Canada has a lot of influence over companies like TD and RBC, like these Canadian banks. Like our banking industry in Canada is highly regulated, so I think it's kind of a push and pull between the Bank of Canada and the banks that they deal with. So,
absolutely. And if anything, I don't know whether you've actually tried to like do any bank interactions here in Canada, but it's actually interesting. I'm literally watching. We went through a window there probably about a year or two where the banks were just kind of like they were frozen. They were like in shock. They didn't quite know what to do. And literally over the past 6 months, I've kind of watched the banks say, all right, it's time for us to draw a line in the sand. And like they've literally cut off Coinbase access to the Canadian banks.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. I mean, the Coinbase BTC CAD market went offline, and we're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, so there's some really funny business going on in the Canadian banking industry with regard to Bitcoin right now, which really is sad. Because really, we act in a very bureaucratic fashion in this country, but really, we are so owned by Big Brother, it's ridiculous.
Does Quadriga can you deposit Canadian dollars into Quadriga?
Well, that's one solution that we sort of came up with, is just to liquidate them and get them into cash, because we're running a business here. And frankly, when you're running a business, you just simply cannot take the kind of volatility risk that Bitcoin has. I mean, I went through 2014. That was a nightmare.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we accept, it's kind of on a similar note, I mean, we accept, Bitcoin payments, so we do cash out, a portion of that into US dollars, just as far as to make sure that it's going to retain its value just in case Bitcoin dips.
Well, and that's
just natural. I mean,
and that's nothing, that's not a moralistic vote, that's not a...
Not at all. I mean, I still believe in Bitcoin.
Crypto vote. That's just hey, we're running a business here, At the end of the day, business bills got to be paid, right?
Right.
So that's fine. And really, the irony of it all is, I think generally, like we had to go through the cleanup. There was no doubt about that, and very much like the November auction, we had to go through a cleanup after that event, right, and just clean up the excesses. To a certain degree, I'm seeing that cleanup being done. Whoops, we lost Alex. I hope I didn't say anything insulting.
Bye, Alex.
But on balance, I don't see that sort of nightmare downside risk on Bitcoin anymore right now, thank heavens. And ironically enough, like listening to, we had this Ethereum issue that really kind of rocked the confidence of the crypto market. And in a weird sort of way, I think it almost deflated the bubble a little bit. And
yeah, I get that general feeling too. I mean, everybody was on this kind of Ethereum high for a while, and then it split up, and
I don't even hear people talking about DAO. Is it DOA now?
So you're gonna have to ask Alex. I don't know.
Alex, what's the prognosis?
I still own some on ETC.
It's probably done, yeah.
Can you hear us, Alex?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's yeah. You guys hear me? One sec.
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Yeah, I can see him at least.
Okay.
I could.
Sorry.
Oh, we're all waiting with bated breath. Right
No,
now,
this is going well.
Rural Canada hasn't quite got internet yet.
Oh yeah. No, but Brian.
You have to go out and punch a cow or two. Come on, get back on the treadmill.
Alex is sitting there fighting his webcam right now or something. But, no, as far as I'm just.
No, he hasn't even stopped talking.
I'm muting him until he's back. Oh, there we go. He dropped out. So no, as far as like the DAO.
And your guys' perspective, what's the kind of trading volume?
Yeah, from what I remember, I mean, the last time I actually checked up on it is the actual Ethereum. I shouldn't say actual Ethereum. That's going to get me in trouble. I should say the ETH DAO. I believe was like refunded or captured into an account somewhere, and the ETC DAO just continued to operate as normal. And then somebody apparently went. Alex, you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh no. So anyways, somebody. Yep, you're really choppy. You should turn off video, Alex.
Maybe kill your camera, Alex, if you don't mind. I mean, we love to see you. You're such a handsome guy and all.
There we go. So to continue on that, from what I remember also is Ethereum Classic, basically, they were able to figure out a way to reclaim the funds.
Can you hear me now?
Folks, how do you know this is the infancy of live TV on the internet?
Oh, yeah. Great.
Oh, wow.
Hang on. I'm going to send Alex a message and be like, don't talk.
Oh, well, we're having fun. What the hell?
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to send him a message that says spin wheel.
Okay. So there's still sort of wranglings going on. Did that hacker ever get his coins?
So see, that much I don't know, but I do know that somebody was basically able to hack the stolen DAO funds on the Ethereum Classic chain and get them back into another account. But that's the last I heard. I don't know if it was actually recovered or if it was just kind of media.
Somebody hacked the hack?
Basically, yeah, using the same method. They must not have had enough mining power or whatever went into it.
Wow, incredible. You can't. I say, have you guys ever heard me say you can't write better fiction than reality?
I've heard that a time or two.
Yeah, you just can't. It's impossible. Well, Alex, if you can hear us, you can spin the wheel and maybe type in the symbol that pops up on the wheel. I don't know. Do we want to look at Bitcoin? I mean, we sort of talked about it. I mean, we can take a look at the chart. It's not really that big of a deal. I suppose. Oh, wait a minute. Let's. You guys gonna keep an eye on the chat?
Yep, I'm in there.
I'll pop on over here, and we'll just. Oh, now I see two of Alex's eyes. Okay, so and what do we like to look at? Are we looking at Stamp? Is that our sort of favorite Bitcoin now these days?
Yeah. Go for it.
Stamp it is. Not hearing any objections. That's a pretty healthy looking chart. At least it's moving up there. We had talked a little bit, and actually, I think I even remember we looked at these cash markets, and we were worried about these bearish AB equals CDs. I think we even said that this is completed. Oh yeah, well, pretty close, eh? Not bad. And we'd also talked, I had just said a few minutes ago about how I kind of felt like we were just sort of in the cleanup processes of, I guess this is the November pullback there, right? And what's really sick about this, anybody watching this for the first time, learn it, live it, love it. 61.8 is really, really significant when it comes to crypto. I mean, it's significant in the entire market, but it seems to be hugely significant for crypto, probably because it's just so algorithmically oriented. And we can see here is the November rally into that U.S. government auction, and you can see it came down to 61.8, right into that zone, nice and happy. And really, I would consider this the cleanup move. Now, if it had come up here and then failed and then broken down, then we'd say, it's toast. Nothing you can do about it. Bull trend's over. But as you can clearly see, we held this level and we moved higher. I think you can use the same sort of logic here if we take that 61.8 fib post U.S. government auction low and draw a fib off of the halving event rally peak. We can see there's 61.8 again, and there's a nice tag of that level. So, it doesn't matter whether you're looking at Bitcoins, whether you're looking at altcoins, whether you're looking at broiler chickens. This is sort of talking about how the universe is built. So try and remember this, 61.8. For people that participate on my site and in my educational programs, we always like to put this big M on the 61.8. What does that stand for? We're going to remember.
Mountain Man.
Mountain Man, that's right. Brandon Rigo. Probably, that'd be hilarious if he ever watches any of these shows. But probably one of the best crude oil traders I ever met in my life. And he just literally set his watch on taking 61.8 level tag trades. And you can see if you have the balls to do this, holy crap, whatever, that would have been one hell of a trade. I was recently playing this trade short. We had gone short up in here, and we took profits on this dump into this zone. I haven't gone long and really worried about, a lot of the publications and stuff I've done have been like, Bitcoin's in cleanup mode and probably we're going to need like good 6 months to clean things up, kind of like this kind of action in here. So really what that means is, we could very easily see a nice little, we're just going to flip the fibs around and go off of this low back up to the highs, and you can see it paints a reload zone right up in this area. So, I like to call these the 61.8 to 78.6, the reload long zone, and the 61.8 to 78.6 on the upside, the reload short zone. If this is a bull, then the bulls will step up and reload their positions in this area, as they, clearly have done a couple times here. And, if we use that same logic, if we go off of that post U.S. government auction last fall, it's low, back up, and we do the reload zone concept here, you can see how the market ran out of steam up in this area. So, they always say, right, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. I noticed that, markets, they don't really like to reinvent themselves. They often do very, exactly what they did in the past. And what we can also see, too, here, if we think about this sort of harmonically, just as we had this AB equals CD, well, you could do the same logic here. This bounce off of the Mountain Man level back up and, $500, big fat round number. Not a bad psychological level. But if we, apply this same sort of harmonic price pattern off of this bounce, we often say that markets don't ever move just in a straight line from point A to point B. They usually kind of go AB and then consolidate between B and then CD, the final leg. So just like AB, consolidate, CD, I could very easily see AB, this is the dead cat bounce up into here, consolidate, and then all you have to do to come up with some sort of upside objective is just simply clone that AB line and project it off of the lows, and there you get a nice little CD move. So here we have two very realistic reasons to look for price to head up into this zone up here, right? Reload short zone and a bullish AB equals CD harmonic pattern. In fact, you know, trend follower traders trading the direction of the market, we could actually, and I won't go into it today because it'll just take too much time, we could actually create what I call a bot setup off of this move and actually come up with very realistic trade levels off of this AB equals CD and set up a nice 3-to-1 risk reward where you're probably buying somewhere in here and you're going to risk a break of these lows down in here, and your target's going to be this level up in here. So I could see that working. I think as well, you know, if we don't have any major news driving events, markets always want to go where they can find business to be done. And my hunch is, you know, now that we've resolved bullishly through this traffic area in here, my hunch is the market, and especially traders, OK Coin, hunting liquidity, all that, they've got their eyes set on all of these highs here. Why? Because, you know, it's a natural tendency, and even I suggest doing it when we're thinking about trade setups, is that we're gonna, if we, let's say we went short on this dump here, if we're gonna, you know, figure out where we're gonna risk to, best thing to do is use previous areas where the bull was stopped before, and then it went down, and as a what we call horizontal support and resistance. Off of this high here, somebody stepped up and said, "No more up, you go down now." And then off of this high, same thing. And you know, you've heard me talk about this before, the institutional fingerprints, right? And in essence, these now, all of just above these levels, there's probably little liquidity pools in the form of stop loss orders that are just sitting there on the exchanges. And if we don't have a pressing event for the market to move into, and it's just drifting, and we've gone through a consolidation, and the consolidation has resolved through the consolidation range, you're likely that we're going to come up and just explore these areas, because this is where lots of business was done before, where somebody said, "No more up, you go down. No more up, you go down." There's interest in these levels. So as a result, they end up acting as a magnet. As well, we've got this cheeky little gap here up on stamp. This, in essence, this little price gap right here represents actually a moment in time when there was like extreme confusion in the marketplace. So if you're watching this video for the first time, you've never watched our shows before, there's another tidbit. Gaps like to be filled in. They don't like to be left open because, you know, keep in mind, the whole process of us trading is what's called the price discovery process. So price has not fully discovered this level in here. It hasn't fully explored it, which means, and we often use this as a trading rule, price will want to go up and fill this gap in at some point down the road. Now, you may find that whoever bought up here, they're just praying to God. You guys heard me say this before. Just, I'm in the doghouse. I spent the money that we were supposed to go on vacation with, right? All that kind of talk. I FOMO bought the pump up, and oh, for God's sakes, just get the price back here, and I'll never, you know, just get me out, and I'll never buy another Bitcoin again, right? So you can expect a lot of supply on this gap fill, but at the same time, us down here, it represents a very realistic sort of target, if you will, to the upside. So put it all together, I'm feeling optimistic. You know, we might have to pull back into these zones here. You can see prices moved up quite a bit. So, you know, we're a bit vulnerable to the downside here. Maybe if you're thinking about playing this move up here, work your stink bids against these lows. See if you can get some coins on the cheap on some sort of little panic dump. There is this market structure here. You could try and buy off this market structure and risk against these lows. That should frame your trade nicely. And then, of course, you know, for site followers, longtime followers of mine, we do have a bot set up here. And, you know, in my daily video on the site, we talk lots about that today. So, okay, so that's my sort of Bitcoin summary.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Am I coming through all right? All right. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Just a little fundamentals for you. Okay, OKCoin has some socialized losses that you definitely need to be aware of. So on the quarterly Bitcoins contracts at $609.30, there's 20,000 contracts that are currently outstanding, which is about, I think, 300 Bitcoins that's leveraged at 10 times, if I'm doing my math right. But it's a shitload of money.
Short or long, and who's
it's a short that was closed but was never filled. So at this point, it represents a loss for their platform, and they have a shitload of these losses. There's a couple big ones, but this is definitely the biggest one. 20,000 contracts that have to be filled. So if you pull up the one, I think if you pull up charts on OKCoin, you'll see it in the order book as this is like a long order or like a green order to close the short. And if it doesn't get closed, it represents a loss. So right now, it's at the current price, it's 62 Bitcoins of loss. So they OKCoin does have an insurance fund where they can withdraw out of it, but historically in the past we've always returned to the level to let these kind of resolve. So
you said that's 609?
609 on the quarterly contract, yeah.
So on the 3-month futures contract?
Yeah.
All right, so and then if we just do a little fibby fib off of here, and I got amused about this, right? Hopefully you can see there's this little consolidation in here, right? If we go right off the lows, then our reload zone's down here in the 520 area. I'm on hunches. I don't think we're going down there, but hell, you never know with the market. I guess what I'm thinking is just these ranges here. So you said 609. Well, that's actually not that far out of the money, is it? That's just right there.
Yeah, historically we overshoot it by a couple dollars just to make sure it gets filled, and maybe even margin call any people who are like, well, once this is filled, I want to get my fill. Well, usually it goes whatever the 100% margin call is for 20 times.
Okay, so let me see if I can understand this. There's a futures contract that's open for 20,000 contracts, and it's short.
Yeah, it's a margin call that was never filled. So right now it represents a loss for the platform. Do you follow, Brian?
Well, because I'm trying to understand the futures contracts, because there are really no margin call, just the position just gets closed. So the equity value in that position has gone to 0.
Yes.
And it's an open-ended liability that's just floating out there?
Yeah, so honestly, if we continue going higher and we never return to these levels, it could be 100% loss for the platform. Like right now, it's the margin call, so that user has lost all of his funds. He's completely been margin called or liquidated.
And OKCoin wouldn't just bite the loss, eh? They'd actually carry that loss. Huh?
Well, that's the thing. They're carrying the loss, but at a certain point, maybe they say, well, we'll just, we'll pay it out right now because if we go higher, we can't afford it. Or they say, well,
that's the sad thing, right? Is that the market will if the market knows that they're weak, the market will go after them. So if anything, I would actually expect price to go up right in the short term here.
Yeah, well, this isn't the first time this has happened. Like watching this liquidations tab on OKCoin is usually a pretty good indicator, and I think I can pull it up right now. Sorry if I cut out for you guys, but if you go to the charts tab, and right now I'm on quarterlies, if I scroll down, you'll see orders that are colored, and those are margin call orders that are outstanding. So once I load up the book, I gotta go really far down now because we're already like $10 above that. But once I get into, it won't even load it anymore. It's so far down. But you'll see these are kind of like tinted yellow, and it's the same when you look at it on the full screen on OKCoin. But you'll see these are outstanding liquidations that aren't filled. So these are orders that represent a loss that are right now 100% loss for the user. but they'll go beyond right now they're like maybe 20%, or they could go up to 30, or even 100% loss for OKCoin.
Why would they run a business model like that? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, they think that, like, they had these margin calls, and they said, okay, now we're going to tighten up the percentages. Okay, so that should stop some of the problems. So now you're going to get margin called at 90%, and that worked pretty good. And then they said, okay, well now if you have if you add any margin to your position, that's all going to get taken. You're not going to get any of that back. So they kind of had this model where, like, this works pretty good, but we're going to be taking a little bit of a cut from everyone to build up this insurance fund.
It's like any corporate model ever. They just keep trying to take a little bit more, a little bit more.
It works good right now, but if there's a lot of volatility that they don't account for, well, they're going to have to, pay out of this insurance fund. I'm not sure what the insurance fund is at right now. I might be able to find it on here. But
yeah, interesting. And so very much like Phoenix, you're kind of smelling a big socialized hit to everybody's account coming here on OKCoin?
Their total insurance fund right now stands at 842 Bitcoin. So I think they can afford it at this point. That's a pretty nasty hit to the fund. Yeah, I'd be a little concerned. And I think there was actually a news story recently that OKCoin actually had a lawsuit that didn't settle in their favor. So they've been convicted of a crime recently by, I think, the Chinese government. So there's definitely worrisome to be keeping money in OKCoin. As you can see, my account equity is 0 right now. I'm not using them.
Interesting.
But yeah, they've been running the Bitcoin market pretty tightly, I think, because whenever they got these, outstanding margin calls, you could basically set a clock to filling your position because you knew they were going to somehow do a dip. And we did see a dip. Like, you'll see we made a peak, and if you look on, I think, Bitstamp, you'll see we did dip down pretty low, but we were within like $4 or $5 of getting to that level where they were supposed to get filled. And actually that represented a loss for me because I was planning on them getting that filled. But now, I'm wondering if OKCoin's not going to get the fill. They should be biting the bullet right now before this entire insurance fund gets liquidated. And maybe they have a trip on that. Like, they'll buy out all the positions if this total insurance fund can ever gets outstanding. So
yeah, but the sad part about with crypto is I wouldn't be surprised if there's people there that are saying, fuck it, we'll let the customers take the hit.
Yeah, well, and being that it's the quarterly contract, maybe I think quarterly actually settles this month. Yeah, it's only like another 2 weeks before it settles. Well, Thursday is going to be really interesting because that's when everyone's payouts happen. If you have quarterly contracts, you're going to get your quarterly payouts. You're going to be able to withdraw all profits, and that's when their platform can represent a loss. So Thursday could be an interesting time. If we don't dip before then, they could be insolvent. I don't want to scare anyone, but just letting them know what's up right now. If we don't go down in price, we have a serious issue on our hand.
Well, I was thinking about actually playing this little, because like if we look at it on a lower time frame, like I said, I mean, this is a very tradable formation for me, right? And it really move up through these highs is a nice buy signal. And actually, as I was sort of pointing out off the higher time frames, and you guys have probably heard me talk lots about this, all this really is an AB equals CD, right? Just boom, 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 boom. So it would be interesting, Alex, if you did the math to figure out how much are they going to be on the hook, because I think if they run this market, they're going to take it up here to 665. So yeah. At 665, are they still solvent?
I heard a couple guys saying they were going to, guys who are fairly proficient in trading, they were saying, oh yeah, run to 640 and then a little bit of doom to kind of refill those contracts would be good. And I'm like, I don't know, at 640, that represents a huge loss for their platform. Like, they have a lot of open liquidations right now. It's not even funny to be saying that if we go higher.
Well, and then also too, and silly me, I should probably know this, but the 3-month futures contract is coming up for expiry pretty soon here, the 30th of September, right?
I think it becomes bi-weekly next Thursday. I think that's
right.
How that
So really, anybody who's using that vehicle to hedge, they're squaring their positions now. And so what we really need to ask is, if you were a hedger and you were using this vehicle as a hedging vehicle, what direction would you be, inclined to be? My hunch is those hedgers were short off the top, right? That's sort of what I'm thinking here. So if anything, that adds more fuel for price to go up in the short term. Anyway, well,
Yeah.
only time will tell, as they always say.
Yeah, we should probably do a couple altcoin picks before we run out of time here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've just been blabbing away here. Sorry.
Spin that wheel.
Here, let me get the wheel pulled up so no one can claim that I'm picking my favorites. All right. You guys
that library coin sure is looking good down here, eh? Holy.
Oh, we could talk a little bit about that after our first pick. I definitely have some things to share. Let's do one spin, though. It's on the wheel. Maybe we'll get lucky. You guys see the wheel?
Yep.
We see it.
LBC.
Oh, Factum, the other one that's been fundraising.
FCT?
FCT, yes.
Because actually, I own both of these. I went and bought some of that FTC the other day. Oh, that was an interesting little buy there.
Ooh, I've been loving my FTC. It's going to be paying for a new vehicle soon.
FCT or FTC?
FCT, yeah, Factum.
New truck vehicle are we looking at, Alex?
I'm thinking about one of those like mini trucks, Daihatsu. Like it's kind of a European or a Japanese like right-hand drive. I found a really sick one that only has like 15K on it, and it's like over 15 years old. It's crazy.
It's for on the farm, like four-wheeler style, or what?
Well, that's why I want it, because it is small. Like they actually measure the engine in cc. I think it's like a 900cc engine. And
well, you guys are on metric up there, right?
Yeah. But
does that make a difference with CC?
That makes sense to you, then.
I guess so, right?
Yeah, but like the thing is, my four-wheeler engine, yeah, it's a 500cc, but my truck engine, no, it's a 5.2 liter. Like we don't use cc for vehicle measurements. So to say this thing has a 900cc engine is pretty ridiculous. But you can put four-wheeler tires on it. So I'm looking to do that and maybe go rooting around in my bush and pick up wood for the winter.
Okay.
Sounds very cool.
All right, so Factum has treated us all fairly well. I sure hope everybody in the crypto community watching this was able to enjoy this coin here. Basically, I did a little margin trading in here and got beat up and decided to just lick my wounds. Also did a little old lady buy-in. So for the the bigger altcoin portfolio, we're loaded up. And the irony of it all is we bought some at 61.8 and some at 78.6, so our average is about right around here, about 25. If you had patiently waited for the nice structural bottoms and sort of the internal turns, you can see that there was nice bullish divergences in momentum here all setting up. Nothing really that you stand out and go, see, on the indicators, this is exactly where you should have bought. I see a lot of back and forth. I think really this is a great testament to this whole idea of range trading, where basically, and really, I've said this to you guys and everybody watching time and time again, you can just do yourself a world of favors if you could just stop yourself from getting involved in these names when they're face ripping up. And really, if you had just waited for this simple reload zone, this is off of Polo, which seems to has a little bit more data than the Bittrex chart. But if you just simply waited for the market to come down into here, you're making money, right? There's many different ways to trade this. Like Alex is saying, you did this trade on margin, pretty heavily leveraged.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a bit of a waiting game, and I'm sure he had fun waking up in the morning, going, "Oh, okay, how am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing?"
Oh, I was buying it the whole way down. That was the only way to do this thing on margin, was to basically have enough to buy it on margin the whole way down.
Okay, that definitely will test your resolve. Sometimes they just don't come back. So thankfully for Alex, this one did come back. I might be a little bit leery about further upside objectives. You can see that we rallied right nicely up into a reload zone. If we think about those institutional fingerprints, you can see that, the bull was stopped up in here last time. So if this is a top of a range, then this is where they're going to stop it. And you can see how, boom, up it went, and boom, they smacked it back down. Momentum kind of a bit tough here now. Full disclosure, I did get off half on a double up in this area, so I'm basically sitting on free coins for a little old lady. And I think I'm more than happy just to leave it at that for the time being. If I wanted to be a buyer, I suppose we should probably be focusing our attention. And I see this happen a lot, where you notice how the original buy level here, and there's a fairly well-defined W, and then one hell of a battle at this level. So it's certainly not like you didn't have lots of time to get into this name, but what a coincidence. You guys see how the reload zone is basically setting up right inside the old reload zone. So clearly this is a really important level for this coin. If I was going to be working bids, I wouldn't have a problem working a bid right off that original breakout level there, right down in there. Let's guess about, what does that say, 23.0023, is that correct? Somewhere in there.
Yep. I can share just a little.
With Willie getting stupid, with the very noticeable bearish divergence in MACD here. And, everybody watching this video, here's just perfect, nice little tutorial on divergences. We have our, this is a MACD histogram. It's basically a MACD indicator, but I've just minimized the MACD and the signal line, and I'm just looking at the histogram. And hopefully this should be pretty obvious, right? We're just simply making lower highs and lower lows. So internally, momentum is waning. And, we built this little Willy indicator here. It's a fantastic tool. Then when it starts getting up into this overbought zone, it's, a bit of caution, is warranted. So I think that really makes sense why we're seeing price come off here now. A good thing is volume really isn't dumping hard, so it's not like everybody's panicking, fleeing for the exits. So I would consider this a very normal seasonal cleanup. And if anything, you see how long this is. This is back in June, right? So if anything, probably, if this goes very sort of technically, quote unquote, normal, we're probably looking at about half of this time. So that was 71 bars. So probably a good 30 some odd bars to clean up, which would be, I guess, 35 bars, 36, somewhere in there. So I'd be looking for this thing to finish its correction somewhere in here, and that puts us the end of September, beginning of October. And really that makes sense, right? End of October, November, December. Seasonally, that's usually when we bottom in these cryptos. So that's kind of what I would be thinking about here. Certainly couldn't buy it here. Am long from down here. Sitting on free coins thanks to this nice rally. Guys with balls of steel who could buy the whole way down here, hats off. I hope you didn't take too much risk. And I certainly hope you did pay yourself a little bit for all that stress that you went through.
I definitely took way too much risk, but I did pay myself handsomely.
You're young. I mean, they in the stock market, we say you take your age, subtract it from 100, and that should be your maximum risk exposure. So, you're in your 20s?
Yeah, I'm 25 now.
You can easily risk a good 70-80% of your net worth. A guy like me, I really can't be risking more than a good 55% of my net worth on risk assets.
Yeah, I'll just explain a couple quick fundamentals on Factum. They just had a fundraising round, so they raised a couple $1 million. But the actual, what do they do? Paul Snow has worked with, I guess, government databases to kind of build algorithms for Medicaid and how do you calculate what someone should be getting in government benefits? Well, you have to pull all these different government databases and then run a calculation. So he kind of realized there's no real good way to pull data from those and have it be reliable. So he's built this system to kind of take that data, sign it into a hash, which is like condensing it into like one variable, and then putting it in the Bitcoin blockchain and saying, at this point in time, you had 5 kids, you made this much per year. So this is something that all governments around the world are going to be putting data onto this server, and then having the Bitcoin blockchain timestamp it. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and I think bearing Brian's analysis, you definitely should be looking at that reload zone.
Right, and really this makes a lot of sense, because what I see, remember Ethereum, they raised a whole bunch of money, and then the thing went quiet, right? And we're hearing stories, oh, they wasted so much of the money that they raised, blah, 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 right? So they've gone and raised a bunch of money, and now literally, okay, so that's done. They've pumped it up, right, to get that money raised. Now they've got to, go through the slog of actually putting that money to work, and then we have to see whether that investment's going to pay dividends, right?
Yeah, they're going to be launching their servers, I think, this month or the next. So it's kind of like one step away from the final project. But
okay,
yeah.
So like you said, and our time forecast is saying, maybe another month or so here. So that actually probably lines up nicely with that event.
Yeah, I'd say so. We should probably do another way. Oh, we were going to talk about LBC for a second, actually.
Sure, if you want. And also, too, on this Factum, do you notice this huge tail right there? Do you see that?
Yeah, and a nice little margin call run.
Like a magnet to me. Can you see that tail there? That bar right there.
That's Is that a hammer? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some unfinished business down here. What a coincidence! That's right off that breakout level there. So if you are thinking about going and shopping in the Factum market, really focus in on this sort of 20,000, 25,000 area. Oh, my browser exploded. Boom.
Sorry about that, Brian.
Okay. Do we want to take a look at LBC?
Yeah. I think. Okay. So
this coin's got a sexy little story. I'm just wondering whether maybe it's getting a little too much hype here in the short term.
It's a little hyped up, but there's definitely some good fundamentals on the mining side. Rob, maybe I'll quiz you for a second. Do you guys have any of the blockchain data for LBC?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Negative, not yet.
So right now, LBC has so we had the mining reward drop for Bitcoin this summer, right? That's a pretty, I guess, finite event. It's very harsh in terms of we were at 25, now we're at 12.5. Right. So LBC, they kind of have this more linear curve. I guess it's more exponential curve. I'm not sure what the function is, but it's a very smooth curve. So we've been kind of ramping up, and that's why you've seen we've had this nasty drop down to historical lows.
So the reward doesn't half, but it just gradually adjusts at 2% each time or something, right?
Yeah, it's been increasing right now. It's been increasing to its maximum. I think it's at its maximum right now for another 10,000 blocks. I think it's at 50,000 blocks. It's at its peak, and then it's going to be a smooth decay all the way back down. So since we're coming up to that point, now is when you want to be buying, because now this kind of we're able to see this economic plan in action. It's production is going to be halving in the next month or so.
I get what you're saying. So right now people are trying to figure out where the next price level is going to be, basically, where it's going to be after the change.
Because right now they're just eating dumps.
I wonder if you could overlay a chart of that payout if this is almost an exact inverse relationship.
It's got to be pretty damn close.
You totally could if we had LBC supported.
I was going to message you guys earlier today and be you guys have to get this on the show because I really need you to, we need to be able to show this. But if you guys get it in the next couple of days here, I'll definitely tweet out a fancy chart because I think it will correlate very nicely.
I can see Rob already adding it to the task list right now. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and there you go, right? We might even have a nice little trade setup algorithm building right here.
So
okay, big fan of M's and W's. I think it should be pretty obvious. We got a big fat W working here. And you know, somebody earlier, and I don't know whether you can see that. Does that look pretty obvious as a W? I've been doing this so long that I just see these things in my sleep now. What do you think, Will, as our layman? Do you see a
Oh
W
yeah,
there?
sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I definitely perceive a W.
So, and what I also liked about this was, you know, thinking again, trade location. You know, we have absolutely no reason as a buyer to be chasing this kind of price appreciation in here. You just can't do it, guys. Not if you want to make money in the long term. What I absolutely love, and I find that these crypto stories do this a lot, is they'll like establish a low end of a range fairly early on in their story. And then they'll just come down and they'll just play with this level down in here. And you know, if we think about institutional fingerprints and all that kind of stuff, right? Where did the bulls stop the selling before? Somebody had to be a buyer down in here. Somebody had to be a buyer in here. So as you can see, price just literally worked its way right back down into these levels and then started to do our little WE action. We're starting to get some encouraging, you know, ancillary momentum indicators. I really like to follow the 30 and 13 period EMA, 30 SMA. And you can see we might get a moving average cross here. Usually when these cross, we actually get a bit of a kickback. So don't be shocked if these moving averages cross bullishly, but we get a pullback into support here. Having said that, and this is the tweet that I put out earlier today, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. So as long as this thing just keeps making higher highs and higher lows, then you just got to ride with it. The good part about this, of course, is that the previous highs, if we just want to, you know, just even conservatively, let's just go off of this high right here. I think it's actually fairly comfortable to look for upside objectives here. We just, you know, thinking wicks and tails like to be eaten, and these represent previous resistance zones. I can see these wicks being explored in here. And this is that reload zone right up against this candle peak here. So, you know, even if you did just buy the double bottom there at 31, you can very easily get yourself some free coins here. Ironically enough, even at current levels, I think getting free coins here is not really too unrealistic. Unfortunately, you can't really chase these things down in here, right? So if I'm ever thinking about buying and you're so tempted, oh, Brian, I'm just going to go buy this. You can't do that, guys, right? If you want to be a buyer, you just got to go and throw your bids in against reload zones, and you just got to sit back and just say, all right, Mr. Market, I've decided where I'm willing to be long this name. And you just got to, you know, pick your levels and fight your fight. So, you know, if we do get some sort of nasty candle down into this area, I could justify definitely little old lady in this. I don't know, for you traders, you can't do this on margin. This isn't like a polo margin trader. But, you know, especially, you know, guys like Alex who are willing to bet, you know, risk more than 5% of their stake on any one trade kind of idea. You know, we could do this as a Joe's six-pack kind of trade. You can see there's a nice, you know, we're off the hourly chart now. There's a nice W you could have played nice and easily through here and just risked against these lows, and that equated to some really nice profits in there. And I often find that stories that put in these Ws, and what do you think the odds are that this was in a reload zone of this range, right? I mean, this stuff almost gets cliche after a while. You know, we go boopity boop, and what a coincidence, W came in right through that zone. Yeah. So that's a perfectly fine sort of day trader kind of trade kind of idea. So that's definitely out there. And you can see they did it again. Look at this beautiful little W in here. You could have bought this level in here, risked against these lows, and woohoo. So it really all depends on your temperament, but I like this name, and I'm long a whole bunch because I love buying against previous significant lows. And we're now starting to get market structure signals coming in here too.
And like I said, it's probably going to be another week before I think that mining peaks, because because I think it is at like 50,000 blocks, and we're only at like 41,000 right now.
All right. Yeah, so we might back and forth here, and that back and forth might be what gives you your fills. You know, if you're out there and you're thinking about buying this, just work some stink bids. Maybe go in and look at the order book. See if you can find any notches, any anomalies around these fib levels, and just work your orders nice and patiently in those levels.
Yeah, there's no reason to chase it right now. I think you can definitely sit and be patient. Let's try and get one more wheel spin, I think, in here, guys.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me. Yeah, we're running a little late here.
Are we?
It's only an hour and 10 minutes. That's enough.
How long is this supposed to be?
Whoa, everybody's talking at once here.
Sorry. How long is this show supposed to be?
You know, 37 episodes in, and I still don't know the answer to that question, Brian.
We shoot for an hour, we hit an hour and 20 minutes, and if we go 1:30, it's not that big a deal.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I have no idea what orb is, but someone suggested it last minute, and I don't even know what exchange it's on.
Wait, what's the symbol?
ORB, orb.
ORB.
Your screen share cut out, so we don't know that you actually selected orb.
Do you want me to try and share it again? I can show it up here. You know?
I heard the sirens and stuff go off. So.
Oh, you guys do hear that? Jeez, here I thought I was crazy and having to talk over it. Here orb. You guys see that?
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah. I swear I didn't spin this 10 times to have it hope to land on orb. All right. Do you see it anywhere? Is it even on the Coinigy matrix or?
Yeah, Brian has it up.
Well,
He's got it up. There's just a little bit of chart pollution on there.
You can see my screen, right?
Some vandalism.
That's more than vandalism, I'd say. Does that? Well, oh my God, what the hell?
What does Bittrex show? Can you go on directly on Bittrex?
Yeah, here I got Bittrex pulled up here. I'll get it.
Oh, go on the website itself.
Yep, curious to see if they reflect that.
Yeah, here I got it up here. I'll save you the trouble. Let me share my screen again. You guys see this? It's loading.
Yeah, hang on. I have to unshare Brian. There we go.
It's loading the book right now.
How many are out?
You don't know if they clean it out of their data too, but
don't worry, guys. Eventually, this chart will load.
2.7 million out. That's not bad.
This is why you use Coinigy, because these chart libraries just don't load very well on these third-party sites. Looks like
it's there.
In a spike to what is that? 150,000 satoshis, and now we're cruising at almost 8,000. So, damn, that's quite a wick.
Yeah, finger right there.
Yeah, I'd say so. How much volume's on that? Jeez.
How is it there?
105K. That doesn't sound like a lot. How many are on the information tab, Brian?
Says there's 2.7 million.
That's a nice low number.
Yeah. I almost wonder, and actually I was talking about this in our site.
Whoa. Sorry to cut you off, but just read the first line. Orbitcoin was launched with the goal of funding conspiracy theory research.
Oh my God, Bob!
I'm just gonna go on mute for the rest of this one.
Working here, I'm gonna go buy some of this crap.
It's Bob coin all over again. I'm gonna find their website. This is too good to be true. I want to see.
Hey, what was that, Bob? You remember Bob?
Yeah, this is like Bobcoin 2.0.
Yeah, one of my site members made a killing on that damn thing.
Oh man, this is hilarious. 3 years old? That sounds crazy. No way it's that kind of chain age.
So it's offered right now at what do we got here? 7,900.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Bid 7,800? Oh, I'm not even looking. Oh, it's stupid me. I should be. Oh, there we go.
I wouldn't be surprised if they got an email from Bill saying, "Yo, you guys need some volume because we're going to delist you." And then there's.
Well, I mean, for those traders out there, you can clearly see the W, right? And what a coincidence! Reload zone just happens to set up off of that. So that's what the hell? I'm getting old. 70. I guess that's 8,000 level. Hey, the double bottom came in off of 8,000. So it's offered 79. I see some gaps on the Bitrex chart back up to these highs. Yeah, you can see that gap right in there. Not a bad flyer. I mean, you're trying to buy against these lows. Hey, any idea what's going on here?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the distribution right now to see like how centralized is this. And there is one guy who definitely has a lot of the supply. You're looking at maybe one buyer. Because yeah, that volume we said was like 107K. So
are you saying this coin is kind of like an inside job?
Something along those lines. I'd say there's definitely an inside party who has a good chunk of it. I wonder what their mining tab has. See, I never looked.
It's kind of like a conspiracy to me.
Yeah, I think it's proof of stake. Okay, track your mining chart sucks.
Ooh, look at this. Actually, this chart's fairly clean. So whoever's running this thing, they cleaned it up nicely. It's to be perfectly honest, with only 2 million coins out, if you got like maybe 1% of your portfolio just for fun, throw it at this thing. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm trying to pull up the Bitcoin talk, but I think they've been getting DDoSed for a couple of days now. No info. Maybe I can get something on CoinMarketCap.
I'm gonna go grab some of this. This is fun.
It's gonna be a race to who can do it first.
Yeah.
Oh man, but no, that's an interesting wick. But this is definitely like another Bob coin where it's just like there's very low liquidity. Like you're not going to be able to throw like $1,000 on this and expect to pull out 10 grand.
But what the hell? We'll throw 1% of this. So what is that? That's
I want to see their website first. I want to see how comical it is.
Brian, what does the daily look like on it?
It's up and down like a horse drawers. Hey, that's the daily.
Oh yeah, right. Forgot about that wick.
But the bottom line is we're buying against all these lows. We're not buying this nonsense up here. It's interesting. I've often found you've heard me say before, right? Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Who knows if we're going to go up there? But if I can, I've done trades like this before where all I've done is just work my stink bid against previous lows. In fact, there was one recently that I did this. Damn, what the hell is it? Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, there was another one that was very similar to this. Oh, 79. Somebody actually just did a trade here.
Yeah, we have people watching the show or definitely
somebody just buy this. Oh, what's the offer now? If they cleaned out the offer, I'm going to be so choked. Oh, it's something 79.
That's why we should just buy all the suggestions before the show, but then that would be immoral.
I don't even see these things before you spin the wheel, so I don't even see how.
That is true.
Well, you guys must have an old version of like their description because their website is far more reasonable. Like the project was created by people convinced that our future is bound to space exploration, using Orbit Coin as a way to actively share that belief and support the amateur scientific community involved in space projects. Hell, I would buy this over Nexus, and Nexus actually, like the guy's dad has a rocket company. So
yeah, we probably grabbed that description way early, unless it trails into like. And when we say amateur space people, we mean conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, that's probably somewhere on their end, like really deep down, but. I want to dig more into this site. This is hilarious. Maybe they got some cool press releases. They gotta have something that is saying, "Oh my God, saucer craft design."
Oh, what's up, Alex?
Superluminal communication. Oh man, all of this sounds great.
Oh crap! Now we're off with 79.90.
Let's see here, press reviews.
Oh good, they're hitting my bid. That's good. All right, well, I'll get some of this. This will be fun. So thank you, whoever gave me this, gave us this idea. This looks like a fun little coin.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring it back down into this area here. But I like this little W. That's not bad. And it's off of. I wouldn't mind if we could just here. Let's get rid of this. There we go. So you can see there's some sort of floor down here on this thing. I don't know what this level is, like 7,000-ish, somewhere in there. That's probably the bottom. Somebody's obviously doesn't really want it to go much lower than that. But you never know. They might be setting it up to dump it hard here. But there's only 2 million out, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing the ticker right now is at like just under 5 cents. So it's one of the like it's a higher priced coin. Like it's not like it's well wait, where are they getting this price data from? That's crazy. Hi. Oh, okay, never mind. There.
Somebody went and jumped in front of me, fuckers.
Brian, you're playing around with the YouTube chat. Will, how many live streamers do we have right now?
Does anybody watch this show?
Clearly.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding.
There's dozens of people watching the show. I just
bought some coin on air. What the hell? I didn't get much though, because now somebody's jumped in front of me faster.
I'll wait for the dust to settle tomorrow. Well, maybe wait a day before you upload this to World Crypto Network, and I might get a fill. We'll see.
Well, actually, you know what? What works really well is if I go out and put a tweet out saying, "Oh, this thing's getting ready to rock and roll," I can guarantee you it'll come back down. So sometimes I actually put out tweets that are bullish to try and get price to come back down.
Wait, Brian, are you saying manipulate the market? For shame.
Hey, I think what happens, like IOC is perfect for this. I think what a lot of these coin operators do is they run their coins up when things are really quiet so that they can reprice their asset, and that's what we used to do in the stock market. If you can reprice your asset and it doesn't cost you a lot of money to do it, then go for it. But then an idiot like me comes out and goes, "Oh, everybody, pay attention here," and then the company just goes, "Oh, that fucking son of a bitch," and the euphoria dies off. So I think that's sort of what I see happening.
Well, Brian,
time for one more quick one.
Yeah, we can spin a quick wheel here. I don't want to get too many stories.
Thank you, whoever mentioned this Orbit or ORB.
Best of luck to Bob Lazar or whoever's holding so much Orbit coin.
I'll tweet to the guy that suggested it.
Look at this. Can you see my chart? There's a juicy gap sitting there at 14,830 right there. Can you see that?
Yep.
That would be my target. And that makes
sense. Gap is juicy.
That's a nice little double, right? I don't think that's an accident.
All right, you guys see my screen?
And the gap resistance is exactly double what the bottom is.
Price alert's popping off over here.
Do you see my my screen, guys? We'll try and get this last wheel in.
All right, yeah, go for it. I'll shut up.
You do see the screen, though?
Oh, yeah,
we got you.
Okay, cool. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Oh, IOC.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I just mentioned them.
I wanted to talk about Uno. Damn.
Lots of compliments from Brian coming this way.
Oh, yeah. We're going to hear all about why Brian's been watching this thing for months. It's not like it's
I've been in this thing a long time.
We've been talking about this, Brian, since we've been on YouTube, okay? This is like the first coin dev that I interviewed.
Remember we did the market symmetry study off of this range here?
Oh, yeah. Clearly remember that. Yep.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this, you know, for the audience, this is why we're in crypto. This is exactly what I expect of crypto. I know there are some individuals, and if you watch my tweets, there's one individual in particular who used to be a site member of ours. And he was very enthusiastic of this name, and hats off to him. He's getting paid. But, you know, for whatever it's worth, the public, from what I understand, there's supposed to be some really big stuff coming from this company. And I don't know whether you can actually call it a company or not. Maybe, what do you call these? Like organizations? I don't know.
Well, there's probably a company involved with the development, and that's where, like, people can seek funding. But in terms of the network, it's completely autonomous. Although I'm not sure what Altcoins holdings are, like how much of their own coin that do they have. Because that's a whole other story if they have a pre-mine or anything. But I think the last spike that I saw, a couple months ago in the spring, they released a video. It was, Joel Bosch, who's the president of Altcoin, CEO, whatever his title is. He released a video because he's also a music producer. He released a music video and that featured Altcoin, and I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, oh, cool, sounds like a great way to order escorts or something.
Yeah, I know, and I have to say for the public, people who are watching the show, I didn't give maybe I painted the management a little bit negatively. I apologize. It wasn't meant to be negative, but these guys are players. And so your comment right there about, yeah, this is probably a good way to order hookers, right?
Oh, if you watch the music video, it looks like they literally order hookers with it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
don't hate the play, I hate the game, Brian.
Yeah, that's right, right? And they're sitting there right now going, don't hate us, right?
Yeah, you know, your wife will never see the transaction. It's great. It's not like it's recorded on an immutable ledger.
I don't, you know, frankly speaking, you know me. I'm not going to be the one to comment on the technology. From what I understand, they're trying to build a better mousetrap, and hats off to them. Obviously, you know, this is why I love technical analysis, because this is basically the market speaking. You guys tell me, does the market like what it's seeing out of these guys?
I'd call them a Bitcoin 2.0. Like, they're kind of making Bitcoin more usable. They have aliases, which is kind of like, instead of having that crazy long characters of a Bitcoin address, they actually just have, yo, I'm sending money to Brian or B. Beamish. Like, that's the address I'm going to.
Yeah.
So that's one of their features. They have a bunch of other shit too.
I think, you know, for the people who are watching the show, technically oriented kind of idea, there's a lot of learning we can do off of this chart. Hopefully you guys, when you look at this, all you see are W's all over the place. You know, go back and watch some of our first episodes when we talked about market symmetry and stuff. There's just so much you can use out of this chart as good learning material.
By the way, if I can chime in, as per usual, we had a ton of people submit timestamps for, you know, when we mentioned a coin, and I've been going through and kind of posting that on our old videos. So if you want to look at, you know, IOC review, you can go back to like BAT episode 10 and just click IOC and it'll jump to the right time.
Oh, awesome.
That's good to hear, Well, because I'm still working on the Block Talk website, but part of it is going to be a wiki, which is going to be kind of information on each coin. So I'll have interviews with Joel. I think I got 2 of them. And maybe I'll even like splice in Coinigy information too, because I think that'd be really cool to talk about it. Because I'm sure at that time, like, I was talking about what was going on in the marketplace. So
maybe we could collaborate on a database of sorts that's the information is viewable on both sites, and we can both work to collect information and make it accurate and complete and stuff like that.
I'm down for that.
One thing that I'd absolutely love on Coinigy, it would make my life so much easier, is if you could put like a website link in here. Or
yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about right now. We want to get all this information filled out and accurate, and
Brian, click on.
It takes a community of people to kind of be working on it.
I want to show you where that link is, because we do have that, just not for IOC.
Okay, so Rod's telling me that something, and then I didn't hear what you said, Will.
No, I was just talking over everybody, sorry. No, we have that. Like, we have website, we have a link to the white paper, we have a lot, like, you know, links to block explorers and stuff, but it's very sparing. So certain, like, new coins that we don't have data on, like IOC, well, IOC really isn't new, but we just haven't been able to get that data. So at some point, I want to kind of make it community sourced.
Like, Brian, if you click under the Bittrex logo in the upper right, if you click where it says BTC instead of IOC, just a little lower, right there, click there once, you can see we have all that information for Bitcoin, and we have other coins that are filled in to this extent, but IOC isn't one of them.
Sorry, all those icons in the center where you see like the Twitter and stuff, those go to Twitter and their
www, that's the website there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So Alex, this is what, like, we could share this information with you, and then you could help populate the database, and it would be reflected in both places and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I think the goal with Block Talk is, at least the website, is to maybe get a more of, I guess, an opinion, where you guys want more of a factual base. So I think that'd be a really good kind of, you know, yin and yang. We can get, what does the market think, what IOC is, and then what does like IOC think IOC is? You know, like you guys have official information, you have the chart, and it's like this is, you know, this is all the data we've collected, but this is like what everyone's talking about with it.
Yep, you're right on the money. I mean, that's what. So kind of the next tab that we want to add next to economy is community, basically. So
and that's like I go to that coin market cap and I click on, you know, whenever you punch in a symbol, they have a website, I think it's forum and something like that, right? And they're just handy links.
Yeah, that's where I went to find Orbit stuff. Like if I can't go to Bitcoin Talk, I go to CoinMarketCap. So the information is out there. It's just kind of making it more accessible and, you know, one click easy. So
yeah.
All right, so just to finish off, probably, you know, perfect people watching the video, you can see these reload zones just repeatedly. You can either buy the reload zone blindly if you are, you know, absolutely committed that the story is going to work, or you can wait for things like market structure, your internal indicators. Here's some nice W's down in here, bigger W here. You know, and this coin just repeatedly did it at time and time again. And this, in essence, is like the sign of a good story. When, you know, really this is, you know, kind of like what we talked about with library coin on a very short-term basis. Higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. This is higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market on a very high time frame. Now, you know, very simply put, when it's screaming up here, you know, those people that were investors in reload zones, I sure hope to God you're taking some profits. You can't be buying up here. I think my next selling level is up in the 50,000 area. So I just missed another selling level for me, but I'm in no hurry. I want to be long these kind of assets. And if we get another reload zone dip down in here, you know, it should be fairly obvious where Brian would consider thinking. In fact, I might even just go off the entire range. And, you know, I might, you know, if we start seeing WE action and momentum indicators and volume indicators start to turn, this is the area where I could think about going shopping again. So fantastic story, big bull market. Hats off to you, IO Coin. You guys, you know, the tweets I've been putting out, it's beautiful to watch operators in motion. And enjoy the profits now if you are long and if you bought off the bottom, but you certainly can't be buying right now. Okay.
Good deal. Well, I think on that note, we're 3 minutes over our, do we end at an hour and a half in that time?
Long-term deadline.
We're officially over time now.
Yeah, so I guess I'll kind of give us a little outro. So, Brian, is there anywhere that somebody could kind of go and learn a little bit more about?
I love how you said
this is becoming a regular thing, you know.
Kind of so smooth and just nonchalant right there. Wow.
I am called the Rational Investor, right? And this is our our website, therationalinvestor.co. Last time we updated this, our cumulative returns were up above 500. We actually crossed 650% today. So I was very, very pleased to see that. You can follow me at CR Investor on Twitter, and this is a really great way for people that want to sort of get to know me a little bit better and my ideas that I promote. And a lot of this, of course, is you're just going to be spoon-fed all my profit-taking trades. Obviously, you know, my paying site members are the ones that are going to be getting access to my real-time trades. Buys, that is. So both places you can get a hold of me. You can pop in if you have any questions after this show. You can pop in and PM me. And ask away. In fact, I usually spend quite a bit of my time on Thursdays just, you know, doing feedback from people that have watched the show. And we do have a school that we run, fairly robust. Our new term is actually starting next week, and we've been sold out of this thing for a while now. So please, if you are interested in the school, think about it. The next term is probably going to be in the new year. So if you are interested, maybe think about what you're doing in the new year maybe make some plans. And we're doing everything. I mean, we're crypto, we're stock market. Right now I'm short gold, I'm short the S&P 500. I was short the NASDAQ and I got stopped out one tick off the high. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. But oh well, that's the way it goes. And we have a lot of fun. I mean, we really like the environment. I specifically built it for a positive mental attitude, nice incubator for new people to, whether you're crypto, whether you're stock, whether you're option, whether you're penny stock, whatever oriented. It's a nice, safe, warm place for you to come and learn. So there you go.
Awesome.
All right.
And Alex, is there somewhere that I'm going to give you an awkward segue as well? Is there somewhere that people can find you online?
Where can we get more Alex?
Yeah, well, right now the website's still under construction as it has been for like the last month and a half, but blocktalk.info is the URL. Right now it doesn't really point to anything other than I think Steam and I have it redirecting to. But you can still find me on YouTube, youtube.com/blocktalk, one word. Twitter, I'm block_talk. I'm completely enthralled, enthusiastic about the crypto space, trying to find out as much information as possible, whether it's markets or the fundamentals, the technology. And then I'm also taking the show on the road at the end of the month here. I'm going to Spain. I'm speaking at a conference. I think it's Seville. I don't think it's Madrid. I think it's Seville. I don't know. I got to look at my tickets again. But I'm going to be touring all around Europe, so if you guys watching the show at home, you want to meet up with me, I will be in Amsterdam for 4 days at the end of September.
Face down in a ditch.
Oh, I understand now.
I'll be in Seville for 4 days. I'll be in London for 1 day, but I think my time in London is going to be pretty jam-packed with a couple meetings, but we'll see. Yeah, so if you guys want to meet up, tweet at me, block_talk, Alex_Sterk, STERK. I'll tell you my blood type. Both my kidneys are still good. My liver's kind of shot, so don't bother taking that. But we'll see. I'd love to, have a scheduled meetup where I can meet up with some crypto folk, because I know Amsterdam is probably like the #2 crypto country after what's it called? After Canada. I'll also I have a stopover in Iceland, so I'm going to be going around and asking if anyone accepts Aurora coin. We'll see how far that goes.
Greenland?
Greenland doesn't have an official currency.
Did you say Iceland or Greenland? I always get this confused.
Iceland. So, for those of you who don't know, Iceland had an official cryptocurrency in 2014, which was Aurora coin. So I think it'll be hilarious to walk around the airport. It's like, hey, do you accept Aurora coin? I don't know what that is. Anyways, yeah, so by all means, if you guys have a cool project, you wanted me to interview someone, like I talked to BlockSafe yesterday. It's an ICO that's starting on Twitter, or on Bittrex today. I talked to, what was this company last Tuesday? Geez, they did something cool, some kind of charting program, or maybe it was Tinder for cats, I can't remember. But they had a pretty cool team.
They're really cool guys.
They had a pretty cool team. I think it was Coinigy?
Yeah, Coinigy or Coinigy, whatever you want to pronounce.
Yeah, so if you really want to check out an awesome interview and check out their entire team, I kind of shoot the shit with them and find out what they're all about and what the history of the company was. And yeah, you can find that up YouTube, youtube.com/blocktalk, one word.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. So, yeah, definitely check that interview out. Had a lot of people say, you guys don't talk about Coinigy enough on BAT. So, that was our chance. So, anyways, on that note, don't forget to like and subscribe, as I am off to say. And thanks so much for watching. And we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Longest episode.